James Bond is like Coca-Cola, which is why for him, this is no time to die. Hi, this is Dan Silvestri.
And Tom Pizzato.
Of SpyMovieNavigator.com. Thanks for joining us in cracking the code of spy movies. With No Time to Die on the horizon, there is lots of speculation about whether James Bond will survive this mission, and whether Nomi, Lashana Lynch's character, will indeed take over the 007 moniker and become the 00 agent in future films. Rumor and speculations have been flying worldwide since Ian Productions started filming. But as we know, anything can happen. First of all, let's look at Nomi. Now, Nomi, I think it's a variation of Naomi. You can look it up. There's lots of different variations. But Nomi is a name from Hebrew-Japanese origin, and it means beautiful, pleasant, delightful. Well, that's a great name for a front and center 00 agent's intro here for Lashana Lynch. And from No Time to Die trailer, Lashana Lynch is all of that, and tough.
Yeah, like I said on our other podcast, that I didn't know her body of work, but man, she looks like she's going to be good in this.
Yeah, I mean, in the trailer when she looks at his other knee and says, the one that works.
Yeah.
It's like, well, she's going to shoot him in the knee if he doesn't stay in his lane. It's like, okay, she's tough. But Nomi, if you listen, you'll say it slowly. Nomi.
How can you say it slowly? There's two
syllables.
2 syllables.
Nomi, or know me, M-E, like know me. Meaning, hey, maybe her role will be short-lived. Will she survive this mission? But these are, are all speculations based on wordplay. But we're all wondering whether Bond will survive. But there's a couple other things really here. Now, I don't know if the screenwriters are into numerology. I don't know. But I tried to find out, and I couldn't find out. I did research this, and there wasn't anything that said, yeah, they're in the numerology. However, if you look into this a little bit, Nomi, numerology is 8. And that means power. It's the ability, I looked this up, it's great stuff. It's great or marked ability to do, act, or accomplish something. It's a possession of control or command over others. Authority. Does this fit Nomi in this movie so far? Yeah. And the second big thing here is sacrifice. Surrender or destruction of something prized for the sake of a higher claim. So, there's a lot of interesting things here, right? Is she going to sacrifice her life, or is she going to sacrifice Bond's life for a higher claim, a higher authority, a higher goal? Yeah, there's some good stuff in here.
Yeah, see, now, actually, I got scared when I heard her name was Nomi. Because there's only one other movie character that I've been able to find, and that wasn't in an Asian cartoon. And that was Elizabeth Berkley's character in what my opinion was a horrible film called Showgirls.
Okay.
And her character was Nomi. And whether it was her interpretation, the director's interpretation, or whatever, but just a nasty character that you really didn't want to see anymore. So in my opinion, let's just hope that the Nomi in No Time to Die is much better than the Nomi in Showgirls.
All right. She's going to be tough. We know that for sure.
Yeah.
From the trailer, she was terrific in the trailer, and I don't know a lot about all the stuff she did before. In the trailer, she was good, but there's always something in names, and writers are good at this kind of stuff. That's why the Hemingway references in License to Kill and What We Thought with the Bell in the trailer.
Yep.
With For Whom the Bell Tolls, which I think we're right on.
We'll find out in April, Dan.
But all these names, like Paloma, I looked Paloma. Well, what does Paloma mean? It means dove, which is a symbol of peace. So, wow. Is she going to have a character role in this film that's going to be more like on Bond's side, or what? We don't know.
We don't know.
But these people think of this stuff like we're thinking of this stuff. I'm not saying we could be writers.
Speculation is wonderful.
Yeah,
we're diving deep now
because we're always right in speculation.
Be absolutely right. Yeah, if we speculate enough things, we'll probably be right with at least one of them.
Yeah, we say enough stuff. But anyway, let's get back to Bond here. And
that's right. We're talking about Bond
and why he's going to survive this mission.
Well, how's he like Coca-Cola? You said that in the header.
he's like Coca-Cola. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? James Bond is like Coca-Cola. Yeah. We don't mean he's bubbly and effervescent.
Yeah, that wouldn't describe his personality.
That's not what we're talking about. The Coke formula was secret. No one person knew the entire Coca-Cola formula for 100 years.
I don't think anybody knows it still.
It's locked in a safe, and people know pieces of it, and then they know put their pieces together, and they make the stuff.
There was another Columbo just on that, too. I keep going back to that show.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. So it's locked in a vault. So in 1963, the maverick and creative genius of this guy, Alan Maxwell Potash, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he launched the Pepsi generation concept. And the Pepsi generation
I would say that worked out well.
It was the first really major advertising campaign to associate a product with a lifestyle rather than features. Like, oh, it's got this feature, that feature, this is why you should buy it. No, it's associating it with a lifestyle. So they had commercials showing young people skiing or having fun on beaches. And again, it was a lifestyle they were connecting to, not the product features.
Right. I'm not selling my product. I'm selling you drink my product.
Yeah. You're going to live like this. This is your lifestyle. Yeah, you're going to live like this. This made Pepsi a strong competitor to Coca-Cola. So there's a great article, and you can read the article. It's called Creative Father of the Pepsi Generation Turned a Lifestyle into a Selling Point. It's by Betsy McKay, and it was updated on August 4, 2007 at the Wall Street Journal. So it's a great article.
Yeah, actually, that article was actually almost an obituary because it came out right after he died. He actually died while they were filming a Pepsi commercial. But man, that guy was so good.
He was a genius.
Yeah, it was just so good. Yeah. Now we'll have a link to this in the show on the show notes.
Yes,
we'll have a link to that article.
Yeah. So here you see a product marketing campaign against a major competitor, Coca-Cola, based on associating its product with the younger generation, and it pigeonholed Coca-Cola as the has-been product for the older generation. I mean, it was brilliant. They never said that, never had to, but it worked brilliantly, and they had slogans like, "You've got a lot to live, Pepsi's got a lot to give." I mean, just brilliant stuff. Coke fought back in the 70s with its own "I'd like to buy the world of Coke" campaign, which was a huge hit. And my daughter, who's in advertising, she's a copywriter for advertising. She actually met the guy who wrote that campaign. He's in Chicago. It's like
Bill Baker. Yeah.
And it's like, holy God, that's pretty cool.
He actually created the campaign, but Billy Davis and Roger Cook actually wrote that song.
Yeah. But Coke, nonetheless, was still feeling their market share slipping. And
well, actually, you know what? One thing with that you talked about the fact that they didn't say Coke was the older generation. They kind of implied that.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward to the 1990s where you had the Apple versus the Mac versus the PC commercials.
Oh, yeah. Similar.
Well, but that wasn't, that was like in your face.
Yeah.
Here's the new stuff versus here's the old stuff.
Yeah.
Where here, this was a lot more subtle. And I think I actually like that approach better.
Yeah, it was subtle until one thing. And I'll tell you now. In 1985, this is the year Coke changed its formula.
Oh yeah,
if you remember,
that was a good idea.
Yeah, and people don't remember that. If you're too young to remember that, Coca-Cola decided because the Pepsi generation was eating into their market share, they had to do something.
The new Coke,
and they came up with the new Coke, and they come up with a new formula that they were going to put out there to compete now with Pepsi in a better way. Well, so this is 1985. In 1985, Pepsi's ad. Now this is in your face. Pepsi had an ad attacking Coca-Cola as a relic, and so you can picture this. It's an archaeologist somewhere in hundreds of years.
Oh, I remember that commercial. Yeah,
and he's digging up something, and it's a Coke bottle.
Yeah,
and he's like quizzically looking at it, like, what the hell could this be? It's like, okay, Pepsi, that was a brilliant
that
ad,
was
right?
good.
So now you got Coke cornered in a corner. He's like, you got to do something. So they come up with their new formula. And I mean, by the way, that ad won all kinds of awards because
it did.
It was spectacular. You look it up. You can find it on YouTube, I'm sure. Great ad. So anyway, so what does this have to do?
Dan, I was going to ask you, what you're talking all about soda, what we call soda here, right? Coke, Pepsi. I thought we were titled to something about James Bond and No Time to Die. Where the hell are you going with this?
By the way, I do like Coke better than Pepsi, I have to say.
Oh, there goes our advertising with Pepsi.
Yeah, but Coke, come on board. Yeah, what does this have to do with Bond and No Time to Die? There's a connection here, really.
Okay. I'm waiting to hear it.
All right, 1985, Coca-Cola was feeling the heat of Pepsi, as we said, and announced the change in their almost 100-year-old formula. Why? To compete better against Pepsi and other brands, and to become more responsive to the world, to the market, to the new generation, to the new way of doing things.
You're still talking about Coke and Pepsi.
Pepsi. Well,
you got to get the Bond at some point.
We're getting there. Pepsi made Coke a relic, an out-of-touch with reality dinosaur. Now, we've heard dinosaur referred to. Bond, you're a misogynist dinosaur.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever Em said, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. There's a little connection.
It's going
to get bigger.
I hope there's more.
Coke was still number one, but Pepsi was eating into their market share, and that wasn't good for Coke.
I think they were drinking into their market share, not eating into their market share.
So they changed their formula.
Brilliant idea.
Mistake, right? 13% of soda drinkers liked the new formula. Epic implosion for Coke. Pepsi jumped all over Coke in commercials. Consumers protested and wanted the old Coke back. And less than 3 months later, Coca-Cola announced they were bringing back the old formula as Coke Classic. Was this a colossal failure on Coca-Cola Company's part? I mean, clearly they spent millions and millions of dollars on this new Coke campaign and formula. But they got a lot of press, right? They got tremendous millions and millions of dollars worth of press out of this. And when they brought back the old formula, because consumers were screaming for the old formula again, that was big news.
Are you ever going to tie this into Bond?
Well, Ian Productions. Okay, there you get that Bond connection there. Ian Productions.
Okay, I know they have something to do with Bond.
They're looking at the landscape of the world today. With the Me Too movement, the focus on the power and leadership of young girls.
I see where you're going.
Yeah, and other focuses on advancing women's causes, and Ian deciding not to call Bond girls anymore, but Bond women and so on. All of this is now connected. Why? To be altruistic? Probably not. They weren't doing all this to be altruistic. I think they were thinking, well, the market is responding in a certain way, like the Pepsi and Coke markets responded.
Mission Impossible's getting better numbers over the
last
7 films.
We're feeling the heat.
Yeah.
And we still have this Bond guy who was a womanizer and blah blah blah. They're thinking all this, right? So they want to capture, I think, that part of the market, that they wanted to broaden the interest in their base, not to just men who love Bond movies, but expand it to the millennials and the younger generation, to women and so on.
Yeah, and Dave Holcomb talked a little bit about that on the podcast we did on his book, His World Never Dies.
Yeah, and so other filmmakers, they have women spies front and center. Atomic Blonde, Salt, Charlie's Angels, Spy.
Anna.
Yeah, Anna, Red Sparrow.
Yep.
It goes on and on and on. Even The Man from U.N.C.L.E. had a lead woman spy.
Yep.
And where's Bond?
Look at Get Smart. You had Agent, what was
99.
99.
Yeah. And some of these movies, they were making money. So they are all trying to capitalize on highlighting women in these lead roles. Ian Productions wants to tap into what is happening today in the real world and not be the Coca-Cola bottle found and examined quizzically a few hundred years from now.
We finally got the Bond and Coke.
So they're changing the formula. Yeah, Ian Productions is changing the formula. Okay, albeit after 58 years or so, not 100 like Coke, but they're doing it. So, have Ian Productions taken the 1985 version of Coke as a model? Will they truly change the formula in this movie, No Time to Die?
Let's hope they learned.
Again, lots of rumors are flying. The beginning of the filming of Bond 25, now entitled No Time to Die, of course. Rumors that, Lashana Lynch as Nomi would be introduced as 007. Remember that rumor? Oh, yeah, the door opens after M says, where's 007? And in comes Lashana Lynch. That was the rumors in the beginning when they announced Bond 25.
And then they changed directors because Bond was supposed to die.
Yeah. Right. Who knows? Bond would die. That was the other big rumor. And even with the first official trailer out, Nomi she's acknowledged as a 00 agent, but they never say in the trailer.
They say no, what's after the 00.
They never say 007
Yeah.
in the trailer. They might still do that in the movie. But we don't know. But like Coca-Cola.
April's got to get here soon.
I know. Like Coke, there's a lot of hype and lots of attention being paid to Bond and No Time to Die right now. And here we're talking about it again. So the formula concept here is the same. They're looking at how to change the formula. Maybe they'll change the formula. We think Ian Productions wants to change the formula. Now, even if you look back at Ian Fleming, when he wrote The Spy Who Loved Me, he was changing the formula. And in that particular novel, it's really, Bond doesn't appear till about the middle of the manuscript. And it's this woman, Vivienne Michel, who's telling the story. Okay, it was not well received by the public. And Fleming, again, was trying to change the formula. And in his next novel, the next year, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, Bond is mentioned right on the first page, and he's back to the old formula. And in reality, when Ian Productions did the Spy Who Loved Me movie, there was nothing based on that novel that Fleming actually wrote other than the title. So, what does Ian Productions want to do?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, even Ian Fleming tried to kill off Bond.
Yes.
In From Russia with Love, right? I mean, when they end that book, he's actually poisoned, potentially dying.
Yeah.
Because, he wanted to get rid of him.
Much like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Holmes.
Yeah.
He wanted to get rid of him. So, okay. So what's going to happen? Well,
we're not sure, Dan.
Coke and Ian wants to change the formula. Okay, it didn't work out exactly for Coke or for Ian Fleming when he wrote The Spy Who Loved Me. And quite frankly, I don't think it would work out for Ian. But they're toying with this idea right now. This movie is the Coke formula, and this is what they're thinking. And now what? Coca-Cola realized that Coca-Cola belongs to the consumers, not the company, meaning that they felt the consumer reaction and flat sales when they came out with their new Coke. And Coke changed back quickly, like in 10 weeks.
Well, Ian Productions can't do that.
No,
they can't change in 10 weeks.
It
takes them 5 years to put a movie out.
They could change within the production of the movie, which I think they did. That's my guess. This is my guess. All right. So what will Ian Productions do? Is all this hype a publicity stunt? I mean, it could be, which would be great for them because it's been 5 years for coming out with a movie. Getting all of us to talk about Bond, to hype up the No Time to Die, so that it's a box office smash and help a franchise that, like I said, hasn't put a movie out in 5 years, which is a freaking long time.
It's a long time
to be waiting. Maybe. Or maybe they really wanted to change the formula.
And they're running up against Mission Impossible, which in 2021 and then again in 2022 are going to be releasing movies. I mean, putting heat on them. And 5 years, you're changing all this stuff.
And they've already announced that, putting Bond in a corner again.
Yeah, and if it takes them another 5 years to react to whatever happens from this one, what happens to the franchise?
I know. So there you have it. Coke got a lot of backlash from its consumers when they changed the formula. And based on all the rumors in the beginning of Bond 25 when it was being announced, Ian got a lot of backlash based on the rumors. That fans saying that Bond is Bond. 007 is Bond. Tons of podcasts, YouTube videos, articles, almost daily about this stuff.
Well, and look at your history. Fleming was going to kill off Bond at the end of From Russia with Love. Yeah. He doesn't do it, and his next two books were Dr. No and Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Right? If he hadn't written those books, because the first movie was Dr. No.
Right.
What would have happened?
Yeah, we probably wouldn't have had any movies.
Right.
That would have been the end of that. So, what will Ian do?
Who knows?
Maybe, and I think this might be true based on all of this conjecture and the Coke analogy.
I think it's based on conjecture. I think it's true. Okay.
Maybe, based on the Coke analogy, maybe we see Bond dying at the end of this film, like from Russia with Love.
Like it. Okay, so not dead. But,
not dead.
Yeah, I got you.
But dying.
Leave us at the cliffhanger.
And what does that do? It gives Ian Production another 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it takes for them to come up with another movie to decide what they're going to really do.
Okay, well, that better not be like a Who Shot JR in Dallas, right? That TV show. Don't give us that cliffhanger and wait another whatever.
Yeah, we talk a little bit about this in our No Time to Die trailer discussion. But so maybe Nomi is introduced as 007 after all. Bond is retired. The implication is he's old. I mean, in this trailer, right? They go out of the way almost.
He's younger than I am. Don't call him old.
I know, but they go out of the way to make it kind of look like he's been gone a while. Yeah. And
well, in that shot when he really looked old when he's talking to that guy who's like Bond, James Bond.
Yeah. That I thought was a brilliant way of getting that line in.
Yep.
Right, in a different way. And I think JBR guys talk about this stuff too, which we love. We love those guys. But there's another thing. What's going to happen there? Well, maybe she's going to be introduced as that. He's kind of retired. He's old. I mean, they're kind of making that implication in this thing. He's been gone maybe 5 years, like the whole time.
Well, I mean, we're waiting for a movie. Kind of gave you that feel, and then you know.
So, but I think they're going to have a problem, though. I mean, so even in this trailer, she's telling him, "The world has changed, Commander Bond.
Yeah,
right. Stay in your lane." She's telling him. So in other words, okay. But my problem is this: if he survives, assuming he does, and he's gonna survive. I mean, based on the Coca-Cola formula, we know that.
We don't know any. We won't know till April, Dan.
How do they bring back an old Bond? This is my problem. They painted themselves in a little corner here with him being old. They can't reboot again. That would be crazy, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know. Every time you get a new actor, there seems to be some kind. Well, I guess Lazenby really wasn't really a reboot.
No, Lazenby wasn't a reboot.
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan wasn't really a reboot.
Yeah.
Roger Moore wasn't really a reboot. Daniel Craig Casino Royale was a reboot.
That was a total reboot. And then it's back to book one.
But now you got 5 stories kind of connected here. They're all connected, his 5 movies.
Right.
So now they're saying, yeah, you're old, you're retired, you're whatever. Now what?
Yeah.
He survives this movie.
We've got to start with somebody new in a totally different direction.
So this is why this is the conundrum. They're thinking in the beginning, yeah, maybe he dies in this movie, and we bring up Lashana Lynch as the new 007, and we have a woman spy. And now they're in this corner. Oh, geez. Now we're going to have him survive because the feedback is not good or whatever. But now he's old. Now what do? It's a problem.
Well, and you've got a whole industry with James Bond this, James Bond that.
Yeah.
All talking about your product, and you change it?
Yeah. Number one, he's got to survive. Number two, they have to wrestle with this problem.
Yeah, this is a tough one for him.
Now you're bringing him back, and he's older. If you would have just said he's retired because he was sick of it, tired of that lifestyle, okay, that's good. You're going out of your way in the trailer even to make him look like he's been gone a while. Nobody even knows who he is anymore.
He's Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, it's a problem. Houston, they have a problem.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, we think this, with a $7 billion company at stake, which is about what they've grossed in their movies so far, about $4 billion of that was Daniel Craig's movies.
Right.
They'd be wrong if they don't do what Coke did. Play around with the formula, but in the end, keep the old one.
Yeah, but Coke released the new formula and got rid of the old formula.
Yeah.
But they were able to react quickly where Eon can't.
Yeah. I mean, really, if they change the formula in this movie and they go with the Lashana Lynch 007 thing, they may find out that 13% of spy movie fans like the new formula. Like the Coke fans didn't like.
Well, it's going to be really interesting in general for spy movies because the 2 biggest ones are at a point where their chief spy guy is old.
Yeah,
you've got Ethan Hunt, and I think that's why they're doing 2 for Mission Impossible to do a handoff.
Yes, and that'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah. because
whether they had come up with another Ethan Hunt or whether it's Ethan Hunt now running the whole thing like Phelps did.
But they have the benefit of what happened in the TV show where the teams changed over.
Yes.
And they can continue that model
They
easier.
can literally do whatever they want.
Yeah. With Mission Impossible, they can make it
Bond's
easier.
a little tougher.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so this is the key. We think he will not only survive into a Beyond Craig as Bond film with another male lead, but he'll survive for many decades to come. So I don't think any of us should worry that the formula is going to be changed so much like Coke did it, that we're in trouble.
We just spent 20 minutes talking about how we're worried about that, Dan.
Bond will survive. Classic Coke, classic Bond.
So thanks for joining us as we continue cracking the code of spy movies. This is Tom Pizzato
And Dan Silvestri
from SpyMovieNavigator.com. Spy Movie podcasts, videos, discussions, and more. Please subscribe to our show through your favorite podcast app or send us a voice message from SpyMovieNavigator.com.